Hey guys, how's it going? This is Mike from M&R Automotive. Today we have a 2024 Ranger Raptor. We're installing two light bars behind the grille. We have a 30-inch on the bottom and a 40-inch on top. First thing we're going to do is remove the push pins from the top cover. So get a flathead screwdriver, get it in the groove, lift up the top. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Now that we got all the clips removed, we'll go ahead and take the top cover off. See what else is holding it. There it goes. Alright, next thing we want to do is loosen these two 8mm bolts. Actually, I'll take it back. We're not loosening them, we're removing them. The next thing we have to remove is this lower trim piece, because it is hiding a few bolts there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get a prying tool and just work my way corner until it pops out. There we go. I'm going to grab it and I'm just going to unclip the rest of it. It goes all together. Bam! The next thing we're going to do is remove these two 8mm bolts that are holding the grill from the bottom. So on the bottom there are two 8mm bolts on the side, and there's also one in the middle, so I'm going to remove that one as well. So before I remove the grill, I like to put some tape on the bumper so that way it doesn't get scratched accidentally. This step is optional, but I highly recommend it. So now, since everything's loose, we can pry these clips off and remove the grill. So we're going to get ourselves in the corner and kind of pull on it a little bit. See, and I release these clips. And we're going to do the same thing on the passenger side. There it is. So now I see that this wire with this harness is going to go with the grill. I want to go ahead and loosen these clips so that way I can pull it off all as one unit. So there it is, one. You just kind of pry it and pull it up. Pry it and pull it up. Okay, so let me summarize everything. There's two 8mm bolts on top that were removed. There's three 8mm bolts on the bottom that were removed. We disconnected the clips as well as the harnesses for the camera. And we also disconnected the clips and the harnesses for the windshield washer tube. And now we're ready to remove it. So here it is. It all comes off as a unit. Now that we have the grill off, we're going to install two light bars. We're going to install a 30-inch on the bottom and a 40-inch on top. This is the set of M&R brackets. You have a driver's side and a passenger. And we're going to work on the driver's side first. And notice that the curve on the rounded edge is to avoid the push pin that we have next to the bolt. So it's going to be installed like this. So I'm going to go ahead and remove this factory bolt. I'm going to thread the same bolt through the M&R bracket, and I'm going to tighten it. So now we're ready to install the 30-inch light bar. If you notice, there's two eyelets here. So the 30-inch goes on the bottom and the 40-inch goes on top. So we're going to slide the light bar in between the two eyelets for the bottom. I'm going to slightly finger tighten it. I'm going to try to arrange it within the grill opening where I want it to be, and then we'll do the final tie down. And now we're going to do the same thing on the 40-inch. We're going to slide this in the 40-inch spot and install the side bolts. So next thing I want to do, I want to actually put the grill back on and see if the light bars align with the grill opening. So I'm going to tuck these wires in. I'll route them like this around the headlight. Then we can drop the top light bar slightly lower. Let's loosen it and slide it down and tighten it. So now let's go ahead and install the grill back on. Wow, it looks awesome. So the top row is right underneath the Ford side, and the 30-inch is right above this lip. So let's go over the wires from the light bars. So the bottom light bar that we used is an amber color light bar, which is a single color. So it only has two wires. It has a positive and a ground. On the top bar that we use, the 40-inch, it's a dual function light bar. So it actually has three wires. It has the red wire, which is the power for the white light. It has the blue wire, which is the power to the DRL. And it also has a ground. So technically we'll need two powers for the top light bar and one power for the 30-inch. Ford actually put auxiliary switches at different parts of the truck. So the first one will be the yellow wire, which is auxiliary number 6. Based on the chart, it's a 25 amp fuse and it's a yellow wire. If you look behind the auxiliary fuse box, you'll see 3 more switches, number 1, 2, and 5. The violet with the green. Number 2 is blue and orange. 5 is green and brown. So because the Amber DRL function, it barely draws any amperage, we're gonna go ahead and put it on the weakest auxiliary, which is the violet and green. So I already put the crimp connectors on the other 2. Let's go ahead and take the sheathing off of this and put a crimp connector on. First, we're gonna wire the dual function light bar. What we're gonna do, we already mentioned that switch number 1 is violet and green. So we'll go ahead and crimp the blue wire with violet and green. The red wire for the dual function is gonna go with blue and orange. And then the ground, we're gonna actually use this ground, which is the black wire with a yellow stripe, but we're gonna fuse the 2 grounds together. I'm gonna take this cover off so that way I can get that ground out of this wire bundle. The 2 black wires, those are the 2 grounds. We're gonna connect that here. And then the single function, that's gonna be the 30-inch light bar, we're gonna put it on switch number 5, which is green and brown. Excellent. So now that the wiring's done, let's go ahead and test it. Switch number 1, that's the power to the DRL. Switch number 2 is a 40-inch white function of the light bar. And switch number 5 is the Amber 30-inch. I love how it's right behind the grille, yet it still has plenty of space to put light on the road. Looks amazing. Thank you guys for watching. I know you're gonna love the product.